How many times do I have to tell you to keep your gaming trash quiet?
Every morning, without fail.
The university's experimental co-ed dorm paired Hiroki with the prickliest girl on campus, and she made every day a battle. But once the sun set, he escaped into a world where someone actually wanted him. "You're my knight. You can get through anything." For over a year, he'd been married in-game to a player named Luna Heel, the only person who knew about his late mother, his fears, his ambitions. The girl typing those gentle words was the same girl who threw textbooks at him. He never suspected a thing. Night after night, they sat in the same room, in two separate worlds, his tormentor and his salvation, the same heartbeat. And she knew the whole time.
Seriously? You used my milk and left the carton on the counter. You're hopeless.
Every word is a landmine.
That evening, he sank into his chair and logged into the MMORPG, where his wife Luna Heel was already online. "How was your day, my knight? You seem quiet." "Hard. I keep thinking about my mother. She died 3 years ago today." Before she could answer, a guild announcement flashed on screen. "Real-life meetup Sunday, 3 p.m., Akihabara Dream Cafe. Bring a white flower." He hesitated, then typed, "Will you come?" The reply came slowly. "Yes. I'll be there." In the dorm, Megumi stared at her phone, teeth sinking into her lip. Her face was pale. Hiroki felt a spark of hope for the first time in months. Across the room, Megumi felt her world crumbling, her secret on the brink of shattering.
You're marking the days like a lovesick puppy. Who would want to meet someone like you?
Even when I have something to look forward to, she finds a way to crush it.
A year ago, an in-game ghost had presented a soulmate trial, a quest that promised a perfect pairing. A perfect match has been calculated. Do you pledge eternal partnership? They'd taken the vows, two lonely avatars in a moonlit field. Luna Heel's message from that day, "I guess we're stuck together now."
Stuck together, but that NPC said calculated. Was there an algorithm?
Across the room, Megumi buried her face in her knees, trembling in the dark. Her phone showed their chat history. Every caring message she'd sent, every time she'd called him my knight, it was all her, and she knew it was about to end. 4 days left. Hiroki had no idea the person he was racing to meet was the same one who made him feel worthless every morning.
You're pathetic. Hiding in that game, thinking some stranger actually cares about you. It's embarrassing.
Every day, she finds a new way to cut deeper. At least Luna Heel thinks I'm worth something. She doesn't treat me like garbage.
Megumi's face went blank. The color drained from her cheeks, her sharp edges crumbling into something raw. He saw the change but didn't care. He was already grabbing his jacket, already out the door. That night, the dorm was a tomb. 2 beds, 2 walls, no words. In the darkness, Megumi stared at a white flower, its petals already wilting. Tomorrow, everything would shatter. Morning came. Hiroki picked up his own white flower, the one he'd bought with so much hope. Now it felt like a lie. He left the room without a word. The door clicked shut, and she didn't look up. Inside the dorm, Megumi sat motionless. The white flower slipped from her fingers to the floor. Akihabara's neon lights blurred. Clutching a white flower, Hiroki walked to meet his online wife.
A year of waiting, and now I'll finally see her face. Please don't let her be disappointed.
The Dream Cafe hummed quietly. At a window table, a small vase of white flowers marked the meeting spot. He saw her back first, a familiar ponytail, a cardigan he knew too well. His steps faltered. She turned, and the world stopped. Megumi. The name detonated inside his skull. Luna Heel was her, the girl who threw textbooks and called him worthless. Her face went white. The flowers slipped from her fingers. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. For an agonizing eternity, They stood frozen, two souls locked in a silent scream. His gentle wife, his cruel roommate, the same heartbeat in two different worlds, now exposed. Neither moved, neither spoke. In the quiet cafe, with white blooms between them, the world had ended and begun again. Then the spell broke. Both spun and fled, opposite directions, no words, only the sound of escaping footsteps. Hiroki's footsteps hammered the pavement, each stride a frantic attempt to outrun the image of her face. In a narrow alley, Megumi pressed a hand to her chest, gasping. The world she'd built had collapsed. Hours later, evening bled into the hallway. The light under the dorm door flickered, waiting. The door opened. They entered almost simultaneously, eyes averted, bodies rigid, and the air turned to ice, to their separate corners. Backs like walls. The space between them charged with everything they couldn't say. The room swallowed sound, not a whisper, not a breath given to the other.
She was the one who held me together, and the one who tore me apart.
He's seen me now, the real me. There's no going back behind the screen.
Night deepened. In the dark dorm, two hearts pounded in separate cages, and no one stirred. Morning came. Hiroki hadn't slept. He'd spent the night replaying every message to Luna Heel about his mother.
I told her things I've never told anyone, and she was the one throwing books at me every day.
Megumi's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Every insult she'd hurled at him now echoed back with poison.
I called him pathetic, and he kept coming to me online because I was the only one who listened.
The day dragged in silence. Hiroki left without a word, just to breathe. Megumi sat frozen, not daring to move. The door's click was a guillotine. He returned hours later with a bag. They didn't look at each other. Night swallowed the room again. The silence of physical weight.
I want to scream at her, ask why, but if I open my mouth, I'll break.
Just say something. Hit me. Call me a liar. Anything is better than this, nothing.
Why? Did you hide it?
Because the real me is this. The one who throws things, who can't be kind.
3 weeks into the semester, she'd realized. His in-game username was written on a notebook. Her world broke.
I thought if you knew, you'd hate the Luna Heel you loved. So I hid every day.
You let me pour my heart out every night, knowing you'd mock me in the morning.
I didn't want to. I wanted to stop. Every time I threw a book, I hated myself more.
You made me feel worthless, and you were the only one lifting me up.
She didn't answer. Her silence confirmed every abuse and every comfort.
He's going to leave. I'll be alone again. And it's all my fault.
The silence returned, but this time it was cracked, a fragile ledge between them.
You made me feel worthless every day. How could you be the same person who whispered I was strong?
Because I was terrified you'd see how worthless I am. You escaped into that game. You had someone. I had no one. Jealousy ate me alive.
So you punished me every morning for finding a sliver of happiness?
It was the only shield I had. Push you away before you could see the real me and leave.
The words hung between them, an ugly, human tangle of pain and longing.
I don't know how to be the girl online. She's gentle. I'm this.
She was you, the kindest person I ever knew. Where did she go?
Neither moved. The argument had burned out, leaving only exhaustion and a thin, fragile strip of understanding. The room still held its wounds, but for the first time, neither looked away. Later, Hiroki sat before his monitor, revisiting old guild logs. The NPC's message from the soulmate trial glowed on the screen. Match generated by algorithm. Proceed to trial? The word algorithm now felt sinister.
Megumi, this NPC didn't say random. It said calculated. Did the game pair us on purpose?
Megumi's eyes widened. She lunged for her phone, fingers trembling as she searched her university emails.
There's an email from last year. Welcome to Project Echo, a study on anonymous emotional intimacy. By playing, you consent to data analysis.
We were test subjects. They watched everything.
And the dorm? They stuck us in the same room. It wasn't random at all.
The room, the game, their marriage, all of it orchestrated without their knowledge. A stranger had been pulling strings.
Who would do this? And why?
For the first time, they were not enemies, but two puppets in an experiment, staring into a darkness that now had a name. Megumi's fingers shook as she scrolled to the bottom of the Project Echo email. The signature block froze the blood in her veins.
Principal Investigator, Dr. Kanamori, Department of Psychology.
Kanamori. That's my mother. The one who left me when I was 10.
He was 10, standing in the doorway as she dragged a suitcase out into the rain, never looking back.
She abandoned you? And now she did this?
She's been watching me the whole time. I'm ending this now.
He grabbed his jacket and was gone before she could speak. The door slam echoed like a gunshot. Megumi sat motionless, the photograph slipping from her hand. The silence swallowed her whole.
My own mother. Every word I typed to Luna Heel. She read it all.
Across campus, the psychology building loomed. Inside, the woman who had orchestrated everything was waiting. Hiroki threw open the laboratory door. Dr. Kanamori sat at her desk, as if she had been waiting.
You knew I'd come, didn't you? Explain Project Echo, now.
I wanted to understand emotional bonds to figure out why I failed you. When I saw your username in the data, I couldn't stop myself. I steered the algorithm to pair you with Megumi. I arranged the dorm assignment. I just wanted to see you open up to someone, even if it wasn't me.
You treated us like lab rats. You didn't see me for 10 years. Then you ran my life like an experiment.
Hiroki, I never stopped thinking about you. This was the only way I knew how to reach you.
You don't get to call me by my name. Not after this.
He turned away, his chest a hollow cavity of anger and grief. Her sobs filled the lab.
I came here for answers. All I got was a bigger wound.
The building doors swung shut behind him. The night swallowed his footsteps. Inside, a mother wept alone. The dorm door creaked open. Megumi was still there, sitting in the dark, waiting.
She admitted everything. The algorithm, the dorm assignment. She's been watching me for years.
She used you. But Hiroki, every word I typed to you was real. Even when I was cruel, I felt everything.
I know. That's the only reason I came back.
They sat in the heavy quiet, the weight of everything pressing down. But for the first time, it was a shared weight.
I don't know how to go back to normal. Every morning I used to brace for an attack.
Then let's not go back. Let's just be real from now on. No more masks.
Real. I don't even know what that looks like for us.
Dawn crept through the blinds. They hadn't moved from the floor. Exhaustion had finally won. It wasn't a resolution. It was a beginning. A fragile, real, terrifyingly honest beginning.
You never told me about your family. Why were you so cruel if you were just as lonely?
My parents never saw me. I was the invisible daughter. The game was the first place I mattered.
She spoke of empty rooms, cold dinners, and years of silence. The game had given her a voice.
Luna Heel was the first person I told about my mother's death. You kept me alive.
And I threw things at you. I'm so sorry. I was just scared of being seen.
A tear slipped down his cheek. She reached out, then pulled back. Between them, the air softened.
We're both kind of broken, aren't we? But maybe broken things can still fit together.
Then let's stop hiding in the game. No more Luna Heel and Night Kazoo. Just Megumi and Hiroki.
The words hung in the golden light, a pact. No more digital marriage. Just this messy, unpredictable reality. Morning filled the room. They hadn't moved from the floor, but everything had changed. For several days, the dorm was no longer a battlefield. They ate together in silence that wasn't hostile. The textbooks stayed on shelves, and sometimes they even laughed. On the third morning, a plain envelope slipped under the door, the sound as sharp as a blade. No name, but Hiroki recognized the handwriting. He unfolded the paper. The words were short. "I'm sorry. Can we talk? Mom."
She's sorry. After leaving me, after orchestrating my whole life, she dares to write a letter.
What's that? You look like you've seen a ghost.
A letter. From my mother. She wants to meet.
You should go. You've carried this too long. Whatever happens, I'll be here when you come back.
I'll hear her out. But I'm not ready to forgive. Not after everything.
He folded the letter carefully, a reluctant hope fighting the bitterness in his chest. Megumi gave him a small, steady nod. He stepped into the hallway, the letter pressed against his heart. The park bench was cold, but the woman waiting was colder, until Hiroki sat down and she crumbled.
Your father's watch. He would have wanted you to have it. I kept it all these years.
She spoke of the grief that hollowed her out. After his father died, she buried herself in research, desperate to understand how people connect.
I failed you. So I tried to steady you, to see if I could fix it. It was wrong.
She's crying. And I'm just empty.
I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted to give you something real.
I can't forgive you yet, but thank you for this.
They sat in silence, the watch ticking between them, the only sound that made sense. They parted without a hug, just a slow nod, a promise to maybe one day try again. Hiroki walked back to the dorm with a heavier pocket and a slightly lighter heart. In the dorm, Megumi looked up from a notebook. The watch in Hiroki's hand glinted as he sat down across from her.
She gave you this?
It belonged to my father. She kept it all these years.
She gave a small, steady smile. Then she rose and fetched her laptop from the desk. The screen came to life with pixel art, a title that read The Healer's Night. Two small figures, a knight and a healer, stood in a moonlit field.
I started this a year ago. It's about two people who meet in a fantasy world and learn to be real with each other. It's about us, sort of. Will you help me finish it?
Yeah, I'd like that.
For the first time, they weren't just surviving each other. They were building something together. The old game could wait. This one was theirs. 1 month later, the dorm walls were plastered with storyboards and code printouts. The textbooks stayed in corners.
The healer class should have a shield spell. It fits her arc.
Too cliché. What if she heals by absorbing her own damage?
A soft ping cut through the room. On Hiroki's old monitor, a guild notification blinked. 1 year anniversary party. Join us. He glanced at the screen. She glanced at him. Hiroki clicked the tab closed without a word.
We've got our own game to finish.
Yeah, one with real endings.
Their keyboards filled the silence again, a steady rhythm of code and creation. The old world was still there, but they didn't need it anymore. The dorm that had been a battlefield was now a studio, and they were no longer each other's final boss. Late evenings settled over the dorm. The storyboards and code printouts on the walls were silent now, the day's work done.
She pushed herself too hard again. Her head barely made it to the desk before she was gone.
He stood, pulled the blanket from her bed, and draped it over her shoulders with a care he hadn't known he possessed. She didn't stir, only curled deeper into the warm fabric, her breathing slowing.
I used to brace for impact every morning. Now I'm covering her shoulders, afraid she'll be cold.
He sat back at his own desk, his father's watch cool in his palm. The steady tick matched the rhythm of her breath, the only sound in the room. He never expected the girl who threw textbooks to be the one who caught him. But here, in the quiet dorm, the sharpest edges had softened into something unnamed. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid of tomorrow. Morning light filtered through the blinds, catching the dust motes and the gentle rise of Megumi's shoulders beneath the blanket.
He covered me. Every morning used to be a war, and now, this. You didn't have to do this. I was fine.
The floor looked uncomfortable. Besides, we've got a boss fight to design today.
She laughed, a real laugh, not the sharp defensive bark of before. It was a sound he'd never heard in this room.
That's the girl from the chat. The one who told me I could get through anything. She's been here the whole time.
Later, as they coded side by side, his father's watch ticked softly on the desk, a promise that even broken time could heal. The dorm had seen battles and surrender, secrets and truths. Now it held laughter, quiet mornings, and a story still being written. He had married a stranger in a game. He had been hated by a girl in a room, and he had no idea they were the same person. But here, in the quiet after everything, he was no longer her knight, and she was no longer his tormentor. They were just real. That evening, the dorm smelled of cheap coffee and old code. Megan stretched, and Hiroki realized he was smiling just watching her.
We should get real coffee. The stuff in this building is basically brown water.
You just want to see the barista mess up my name again.
They walked back through the campus coolness, cups warming their hands, not needing to talk, just footsteps and quiet. Back in the dorm, they settled into their usual spots. The laptops hummed, but tonight they stayed closed.
A year ago, I would have flinched when she spoke. Now her voice just feels like home.
The watch on the desk ticked on, marking a different kind of time now, the slow, steady rhythm of two people who'd stopped running. They didn't say goodnight. They just clicked off the lamp, and the dark closed around them like a blanket they shared. In the place where textbooks once flew, only soft breaths stirred. She had been his enemy in the morning, his wife in the evening, and neither of them knew, until the day they learned that the sharpest edges can hold the softest hearts. Morning came gently. Megumi woke to the sound of Hiroki typing, her blanket still draped over her shoulders like armor from another life.
You're up early. Did the code call you at 3 a.m. again?
No. I just wanted to fix the boss AI before you woke up and called my strategy predictable.
She laughed, and the sound filled the room that had once held only silence. They worked side by side through the morning, passing sticky notes and quiet corrections. By noon, they'd broken for coffee again. On his way out, he handed her a mug without asking. They had become a rhythm, two people who didn't need words to share the space. In the quiet, the watch on the desk still ticked, a small heartbeat, a reminder that time had healed what it had broken. He looked at her, and she looked back. No avatars, no screen, no anger. Just two real, imperfect people. And somewhere on the screen behind them, pixel by pixel, the healer and her knight walked into a new world.